morning. Thanks for joining us today on the Off the Scale Unfiltered podcast. Today, I'm Bridget, by the way, and this is Shauna over her. And today we are going to tackle a topic that is prevalent in the minds of anybody who has done a diet, weight loss program, challenge, whatever it might be. You get to the end of it where you've been in a deficit and you struggle to maintain that fine line. So if you, let's say, for example, reached your goal and now you have to live your life in maintenance, but you still have to keep things in check, right? Because if you don't, you're going to go over in a lot of ways. You start getting really comfortable in eating out or having a little extra snack here, extra snack there. And before you know it, what we discussed a few weeks ago, you're over that 200 calories a day mark that can make you gain weight in the long run over the course of a year. On the flip side of that, if you have an addictive personality in any way or somebody who is very OCD, it is difficult, especially if you've been doing it for a while, to begin to eat at maintenance and come out of the deficit at all, because a lot of people want to stay in that deficit because they're afraid. I think Brian made this connection. You save all your money for years and years and years in a 401k, and then you retire and you're afraid to spend it. And I think that it's very similar in this, that you've lost the weight, you're terrified to gain it back, so you are afraid to come out of the deficit. But the problem then becomes, and we'll talk about this more, your body's like, okay, but you're burning, X amount of calories a day and you're not feeding it. So where are we getting this energy from? More often than not, it starts coming out of the muscle. So anyway, so that was a good kind of start to talk about what we are going to be discussing for the rest of the podcast. But I'm going to let Shauna take it from there for a few minutes and expand on it.
So first of all, I'm going to try to not say the word like so much because I listened to our last podcast and I jokingly said, "Oh my God, like if I was drinking, I would have been drunk within the
For
first
every
fucking 10
shot.
minutes."
I know. Well,
So
between that and me saying, you know what I mean, and right. Yeah. Okay. So you find these things out. So when we have our guests on too, they start to recognize what they say all the time as well. What's the
right.
words?
So we're going to try to avoid that. So Sarah had brought it up first, and she was one of our guests about, where's that line? Because when you get into maintenance or when you want to get into maintenance, you start thinking about, okay, what's a new goal, right? Obviously, I'm not trying to drop weight anymore. Let me increase my strength in XYZ or something like that. But with that starts to come a difference in body, right? And I think I saw it even now, right? Like I still continue to see it, and it's hard. I don't know where to go with this because you want a certain look, and sometimes that requires you to get back into a deficit, right? And also you're in the mindset of, I don't want to go back to where I was. So you start thinking, and I think that's where Brian starts to come into play. And a lot of people who are coming off of the challenge start to think, okay, well, I still want to be in a deficit, but like we're not meant to be in a deficit all the time. That's the crux of it. We should be eating at maintenance and maintaining whatever that level is. And Sarah also mentioned in our email, she's like, Shauna, she's like, you're working out I'm lifting 6 days a week. This is only my second week, right? I feel good right now. According to everything mathing, I'm in a deficit because I'm averaging about 15,000 steps again. So, and like when you see me doing this, think of that as fidgeting, right? I'm moving. That's my fidgeting steps. That's the equivalent of people shaking their leg. I don't know if they get steps for that, but this is me fidgeting. And I think I saw it even, and I'm all over the place right now. I was thinking of a picture that John took of me. We were on our bikes and he took a picture of me from behind. And I posted it, but I was so fucking pissed off about it, right? Because I'm lifting and I didn't see what he saw. So I think a lot of times when we come out of deficits, we really need to take a step back, reverse diet, do whatever you got to do, and take a step back and see where you came from and how far you've gone, right? I didn't think the shot was flattering only because it didn't show my muscles, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, but like when Ursula saw it or like Rochelle saw it, and of course, like all you Eagles and Ls, when they see that picture, they're like, holy fuck, like you look strong as fuck. You look athletic, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, like just because I wasn't flexing a double bicep,
Yeah.
like, and I think I'll post this on the Instagram. So, like, if I'm flexing in the mirror in my bathroom or whatever, like, you can see the double
Oh,
bicep
yeah.
and you can see all the muscles, like, flexing, right? But
Yeah.
then when I'm sitting on my bike waiting for the fucking red light and he snaps a picture, I was just like, what the fuck? Like,
Right. But
where is
life
that muscle
isn't
right now?
But life is flexing.
Life isn't flexing.
No. And so and I do think you're onto something there that we don't see ourselves the way other people see us, right?
100%.
Especially when we still have in our mind that we look a certain way, or we're really focused on what isn't flattering. Like I have a shit ton of cellulite in my legs. So you will never, unless you're seeing me in a bathing suit, you are never going to see above my knee in an outfit ever. No, no, because the whole
Girl,
time I'd be like, oh,
let's go there.
I know. Let's go.
No. See,
Yes.
and like this is coming back to the whole body dysmorphia thing and like how you see yourself or perceive yourself and versus how others see you, right?
Right.
And like a lot of times we're like to people who might be negative, we're thinking fuck you, right? Like
Yeah.
I fucking look good. You don't know, you don't have not walked in my shoes. You have no fucking idea, right? That's why we always say be kind. But then to the other side of it, like why aren't we fucking kind to ourselves?
Right. I know.
Seriously.
Seriously. So, but yeah, I think that we beat ourselves up over the little things. We don't catch glimpses of ourselves. Like we talked about this last year. This was like one of our first conversations together.
Oh my
The
gosh,
fact
yeah.
that you saw your reflection in the mirror or the glass of a window, of a store window, and thought, who's that?
Yep.
So that's where it's a struggle. We expect ourselves to look absolutely stunning and perfect all the time. And that's not life. We were talking about what Sarah had mentioned with regards to strength training, that depending on your body type, you're either going to build and look thicker or you're going to build and look sleeker. It just depends on body typing. And then you've got the people, I've got
Yeah.
clients that no matter what they do, they're strong and they can do what they need to do. They just look like bone with some muscle on it. You know
Right.
what I
Right.
mean? And they hate that, but they look good. They look healthy, but that's just not their body type. They're never going to look like you. And they're
Right.
never, the male counterparts of it are never going to look like Dr. Mike. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, but I mean, Dr. Mike has taken a lot of shit.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like that
let's be
thick,
serious
short,
right there.
stocky, because he's got the European build. It's just
Yeah.
that's how they're built. Now, can you change the way your body looks depending on how you approach your diet and exercise? If you're one of those crossover types, Brian falls into that category. For decades, he was more stocky and always thought, oh, I can never wear normal jeans because my
Like you're
thighs are
talking
so big.
husky?
Yeah, always. Yes, he was always
So,
like
but
that.
then,
But he
but then, like,
changed
is
it.
that just because of the fat? Right. Exactly. Like,
Hmm.
I always considered myself a husky girl. Like, my mom would always say big bone and all that other shit. But then,
Right?
like, when you do the wrist measurement, you're like, oh, well, I
Yeah.
can actually, I'm like more of a medium as opposed to small bone, right?
Right.
I'm definitely thicker than some others. And then, like, that's where all those Sonata types fucking came into play.
Hmm.
Ecto or fucking meso and all this other
Yeah,
shit. But
right.
then
Exactly.
if you look at a lot of people who are muscular, they took years to
Yes.
fucking build that physique. And it's just like,
Yes.
here we are in the baby beginnings of it. And
And post age
this is all
50.
they've
Don't
been.
forget that.
Yes, exactly. Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
right. So
it's
it's
just like,
different.
where are you going to give yourself a break so that you can actually really appreciate how far you have come? And yeah, I'm
Yes.
talking to myself right now. Like, where have you come and where do you want to go? Like,
Hmm.
so Sarah mentioned, she's getting to a point where she's eating in maintenance, and sometimes the scale doesn't agree with that.
Right.
Right? The scale starts going up and down, and it's like, and I said the fucking word. I just realized.
It's all
So,
good.
right, it's just like, where do I want to go from here? Like, what do I want to look like in my maintenance?
Right.
And yeah, I just did that 5 times on purpose. So I don't know. Like, I'm still trying to figure it out myself.
Hmm.
I
And
know
that's
I
it.
got to a certain point, and then it's just like that's where I want to be. And I'm focusing more on my macros because the macros make a difference. And it's
Mhm.
not whatever fits your macros because I can eat a whole bunch of fucking carb balanced fucking tortillas and meet my fiber goal, but I'm
Right.
never going to eat any fucking fruits and vegetables, which I know make my physique look better and fucking train better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I
Soapboxes.
that's right. Let's come off that soapbox. Let's yeah. Now you can't come off the soapbox. That's where we live. That's where we live
We
is
live on
this
our soapbox and
that's
stuff.
it.
Like I'm in a challenge right now with Mark, and I told him I was like, you might need to push me because I really don't like to be hungry. Who does, right? So I don't know. So now I've changed from ChatGPT. ChatGPT was kind of pissing me off, and not that it was being mean. It's because it wasn't being mean. So
Yes.
I started to go to Gemini, and I'm
Okay.
not really. I mean, it's talking like I talk, so apparently it's fucking listening a lot more. And it's not cursing though. I think eventually it's gonna curse.
Does it say like a lot?
But no, I should start like listening to it more, right?
Like, girl, you need
So
to like, right?
you right. So right now it's
Mhm.
like, my God. So so I feed it all of my data. So I'm feeding it weight, body fat percentage, steps, calories, protein, carbohydrates, fats.
Mhm.
And what I like about it is that it is showing me the correlations. Okay. So it'll say, okay, do you notice how your fat went up on this day? And it was still like within range because, like, usually I'll have lower fats on some days and maybe sometimes I'm higher. But they're like, do you notice how it went up here and where your scale went afterwards? That's the things like, so it's trying to like show you. Sorry, I'm going to keep on noticing it. It's showing you the nuances of the scale and how it relates to your macros.
Mhm.
And of course, sodium goes into play. I'm not feeding it sodium intake or anything like that, but it wants to show you where those fluctuations are coming. And I think when you're in maintenance, you're not always going to be 152 pounds steady,
No.
ever.
No, and that's not
Okay.
realistic. There's
No.
always that 3 to 5 pound fluctuation. And what you just made the point about sodium, that's a great point. So yesterday I hit a low for a little bit. It was like 135.6 or something like that. So it'd been a bit since I'd been back at 135-ish. I've been floating ever since we finished the challenge between 136 and 138, kind of in that number. Yesterday, I was low. I was at 135 something. And then we went to my favorite burger place ever. We split a sweet potato fry. It was wonderful. And so today
It
my
is a good burger place.
salt is up. Salt
Oh,
is up.
yeah.
But I don't care. That was life. And that's something, again, we're mentioning Sarah because she's someone who gave us some feedback about maybe a good topic to discuss, which we are. You have to live your life. She's got young kids still. So she's, running with sporting events and then she's doing her own sporting stuff and trying to keep her own health in check. But you're going to have family gatherings and you're going out to dinner and you're living your life. So it's keeping it in check, but also not restricting yourself so strongly that you're exhausted mentally all the time. And you've talked about that
Right.
multiple times in our conversations that you can't stay in that deficit all the time. Any of the
You
people
shouldn't.
who know, and any of the people who are the decent influencers out there, your Dr. Mikes and people like that, are going to say you got to take a break. So you do the whole reverse
Mhm.
thing if you want to do the reverse to go into maintenance because you're kind of freaked out about going straight into maintenance calories from here. There I'm saying it. See, now we're both really aware of our little words. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody cares. We're just making a big deal out
We're
of it.
going to start
Anyway,
doing squats every time we
uh,
say these words.
do a shot. You got to do
Yeah.
like that grass, like the green grass shots, right? Every
I'll
time.
definitely stop saying the word now. No,
Anyway,
no wheat germ.
yeah, that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
So, just finding that balance. And we're now, today, I think is 3 weeks now since we ended our challenge. And I'm feeling really good about where we're at. So I will share this. Last week, I'm at the grocery store and I'm like, and I look and Cheetos, Simply Cheetos, which is one like I could wipe out a whole bag. It'll make me sick as shit, but could wipe out a whole bag. The family size bag, right? Because there's this much air in it and,
Right.
and then like 7 servings or whatever.
They're air Cheetos. Yeah.
Yes. So these were spicy cheddar, and I thought, so I bought it, counted out every time I'm driving home. This is like the worst, right? So you're eating. There's one. Every time I
Yes.
ate, I counted it. Then I wrapped the bag up and stuck it back into the carrier. Driving. I'm like, I can handle 2. I've been working hard, so I did 2 servings. Then I put it away and I didn't touch it again, miraculously for 2 days. And then
Nice.
that third day or whatever it was, I had a serving and then I squished it and threw it in the garbage.
Yep.
Like 5 or 6. I don't know. I have to look because this wasn't the family size.
Wow.
It's just like normal size. But
Yeah.
I scrunched it up and threw it away. And you know what? That third time eating it, my stomach went, "What are you doing?" It just
Why are you
didn't
eating
feel
this fake
good. I
shit?
didn't. So it's strange how you think you can't, but you can start to change those triggers and those habits. So I said to myself, okay, I'm going to have it. And the problem is because of the spice, and I've done this with Mama Zuma's Revenge chips from Route 11, they're very spicy. When you're eating
Wow.
something spicy, you keep eating it because it cuts the heat the more you eat it. But there's that lull after you've been eating, like if you've done wings and you take a break for a minute and you're like,
Like
whoo,
indigestion.
you know what I mean? It's like you got to
Yes.
keep going. So I think that was part of it. And then because I didn't really want them, and the fact that they sat in the cupboard for 2 days in my house, that's huge. That's huge. So
Yeah, it
it
is.
just doesn't. Yeah, I know. It's kind of strange. But anyway, the point being that you can start to shift your mindset when it comes to that and live in that maintenance world. So I upped my calories to 1885 for MyFitnessPal and still trying to get anywhere from 95 to 115 grams of protein. Sometimes I'm at like 136. If we've eaten chicken breast or something twice or fish, it'll be higher, but that's kind of
Okay.
my goal. We're still strength training, been working
As you
out in the
should
yard a
be.
lot. The one thing I do want to reiterate though is I'm over Fitbit. I need to turn off the whole maintaining cardio fitness because I literally have one day of, okay, I taught us flexibility class yesterday. I got 10,000 steps in, just shy of 10,000, I think. 10,000
Okay.
steps in. Still got like 40 minutes of zone minutes, and it's telling me that I'm under training after a week straight of telling me that I'm overtraining. So I think when it says you're overtraining, then all of a sudden you give yourself, I need to take a couple days off, and you give yourself
It's
this,
almost
yeah, like
so
I need,
this is my Fitbit screen now. I don't even see that anymore. Like
okay.
this is the new
I wish
one.
it would switch to mine like that.
So it's in beta. It's like, oh, do you want to try this? I'm like, fuck yeah, I do. So the only thing I don't know where to find you or my friends in
Okay.
this. Whereas before, it shows me fitness and sleep, like it has those different tabs and everything. But it doesn't. It shows me like my weekly cardio, and you could set the goal, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't. It hasn't told me about the whole, oh, you're under an overtraining, because like you said, that
Yeah.
drives me fucking nuts. It's
Yes.
just like, but like when I do well, or if I'm like, let's say it says for whatever reason, just aim for 24 to fucking 48, whatever the fuck that means, right?
Yeah.
24 to 48, but now I got 56. It's not
Yeah.
fucking terribly hard or whatever. And then all of a sudden it'll spike you up to 120 the next day. Like, oh,
Yes.
you're in danger of fucking failing. And I'm like, fuck you. You told me to take it easy.
Yeah.
So,
And I think depending on the mindset, like it's frustrating for me because I'm thinking, oh, I'm doing so good. I'm staying active. We don't sit. We have almost 5 acres now. We have all this acreage we're trying to clean up and everything's going crazy.
right.
Outside all the time doing something, usually just being a host for ticks. But aside from
Yeah.
that, I'm on the go. And to have this machine tell me that I'm either under or overtraining, and only once in a blue moon it says, oh, you're maintaining fitness. Look, if it was telling me you're slacking on strength training, you need to lift more, I would feel like that was a better value for me at my age. But it doesn't tell you that. It's only about cardio because it's tracking your steps and all that. And it's just
Right.
if you have the wrong mindset, you're, oh, You're undertraining. Now you feel like a failure. I might as well eat the whole bag of Cheetos because this machine is telling me I'm failing, even though I feel like I'm doing really good. It can really screw with your head, you know?
Just like the scale.
Mm-hmm.
It's just another data point. And I think when you're in maintenance, you almost have to. I've started weighing, I weigh myself every day, right?
Me too.
Right now, like I said, I'm in a challenge. My goal is to recomp. And what does that mean, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that I'm looking to lose weight. I want to get my body fat percentage down though. So I will have to lose some weight, but I'm not trying to lose any muscle. And I think a lot of times, for me at least, macros come into a huge proponent of that, right?
Right.
It's the difference between what fits my macros as opposed to what is better for my
Mm-hmm.
macros is astounding,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like I said before, I can eat carb balanced tortillas, and that's how I used to, like, when I was, what do you call it? I was eating half a banana, for instance, and I was getting pissed off because I'm like, why am I, like, I'm trying to, get my carbs in and stuff like that. But yet I'm making room for the carb balanced tortilla because it had like 14 grams of fiber, as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to eating a full apple and that banana. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean?
Yep.
Or eating only half a cup of raspberries. And like, let's be frank, raspberries, a full cup of it's like 9 grams of fiber. That's the
Right.
shit that you want.
Yeah.
As opposed to the carb balanced tortilla. I'm not saying don't eat it,
Right.
because that's a better option to eat if you're making tortillas or maybe a flatbread pizza or something like that.
Right.
But you should be aiming to eat the better whole foods and then have the processed shit as add-ins as opposed to that being your main course.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm going to be like trying some, I don't even know what they call it. It's kind of like kung pao chicken, but I don't know.
Mm.
Popcorn, I don't know exactly. And just like, what
Sounds
the fuck
good.
is it called? I have it saved
Okay.
and we're going to try that. But then I also don't like rice. So I'll make John the rice. I'm going to make sweet potato and just fucking
There you
eat the
go.
sweet potato with it, you know? And that's the other thing, like sweet potatoes or potatoes in and of themselves. And then I just started, a squirrel just stared at me and said, Shauna, you want to mention this too? When you're in your reverse maintenance or reverse calories, I worry about the people who are taking the shot,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you're not working with a nutritionist and stuff like that. And that's something that we all need to like think about too. Like when you're in your challenges and then you start to reverse diet, it's not a free for all. You're eating the same foods that you were doing when you were in your deficit and you're dieting. You're just
Mm-hmm.
eating a little bit more of it,
Right.
you know?
Yeah, you can't
So,
go balls to the wall. So that was a perfect segue into this. So
yay.
we have a pizza oven. And I told Brian, I said, I want to do a thin crust pizza. So we were able to make two pizzas, one day and one the next day, out of this one crust recipe. So we did, it was like a lot of veggies, but then there was also, Brian had made candied bacon last week. And we spread it out
Ooh,
over the whole week because one piece is
what's that?
plenty. It's so you it's like a maple syrup with some, I don't even know what else you put it. It's got to be brown sugar or something that you very lightly just glaze the bacon and then you bake
Uh-huh.
it instead of frying it. And it kind of gives you that crispy, it gives you that you want something sweet, but you're getting some protein at the same time. I'm not going to tell you people that it's
So,
healthy because it sure as hell ain't healthy, but
you know what I
it's a
had at
nice
Hershey
treat.
Park? They dipped the bacon in the chocolate.
That
So is that kind of like the same thing, but that's a healthier
yeah, and
version?
along those lines, I'll come back to the pizza, but you just sidewayed me over here. Last night we got the high protein Java chip ice cream. It's this big a pint of it is like $7, but I just, I'm like, okay, that's okay because that's what it would cost us to go to the custard shop for two of us at
Right.
least. So and
Yeah.
that's gonna feed us two times. We got that. I don't know why I keep showing you, but we got that, and then we took
Because we're
one.
doing video now.
I know, right? It's this big. I really like Brian's mom. I had an ice cream container. It was only that big. Anyway, so then we took the one piece of that candied bacon and cut it up into tiny little pieces over that Java chip ice cream. Ooh, maple bacon ice cream on, and you didn't need much. You don't need much. It's so little. Anyway, but
It's like
we
a
split
new
a
thing
half a pint,
unlocked.
a quarter of a pint each on that, It was really good. But going back to the pizza. So I had made Italian sausage and we took one link and spread it between the two pizzas. So it was diced up one or two pieces of bacon, of that bacon, and then some pepperoni, like 8 slices of pepperoni, your cheese, a little parm, and I split one block of Parmesan or of mozzarella between the two pizzas, and then veggies all over it. Whatever. I can't even remember all the different veggies that we put on it. Baked it. So I'm guessing, and I'm normally pretty freaking good at this. And I said, I'm going to say that, it's about like a 500 calorie pizza is what I'm guessing, right? Because these tiny
Okay.
slices, like it was only a 12-inch. It wasn't big. So I said, it's probably not that bad. No, I'm sorry. I was thinking 500 calories. I was thinking 500 calories for half a pizza. No,
Okay.
a whole pizza is 2,000 calories.
Shut the fuck up.
I went ahead and put it all in, everything that I did. So that just tells you, we think in our mind, like, oh, it's thin crust. It's got veggies all over it. I barely put any meat on it. So
That's
no,
underestimating, right?
and you know where it comes from? The freaking flour. So it wasn't even all the meat and the cheese and all of that. The flour in and of itself is
Yeah.
where all the calories are. So when you're talking about what you just said, which is why it segued, using the carb balance things or something like that in lieu of, or cauliflower crust or whatever. Yeah, if you want to save on
Yeah.
those calories and still have all the yummies on it, you can still have all the yummies. That's not, as long as you keep in check. I mean, you can't use a whole package of freaking pepperoni
Right.
on it, but you keep it in check. And
Or you can get turkey, pepperoni. I mean, like, there's substitutions that you can make, and we're not saying that you can't, you have to come to that balance yourself. Like, what's more important to you? Like, a lot of, my God, whenever let's say you are traveling for work, that's 1 week or maybe a few or several weeks out of the year.
Right.
You can make smarter choices out when you're dining, right? It doesn't always have to be fucking the high ribeye steak and, Delmonico's or whatever the fuck. You can tell them, hey, I want the sirloin tonight. Do not cook it in extra fat.
Right.
Because they add butter and oil to it or whatever. Or like when I went to the Longhorn one time, the broccoli registered as 100 calories for the serving. I'm like, how much fucking butter did you put on that shit? And it tasted like crap, just with the amount of shit that they put on there. Yeah, it's just like, it's like the movie Popcorn.
Yes.
I love popcorn, but I can't eat it anymore. Okay. And you start to come to these things of like, I want this, but I can't have it, or I'm going to feel like crap afterwards, And these are the trade-offs that you do. This is what your diet was supposed to teach you. Was even though you're eating in a smaller amount, you were supposed to be eating properly.
Right.
And that's why I went to that thing about the people who are on the shot, because like if you're not eating the protein like you're supposed to, if you're not lifting weights, where are you going to be afterwards?
Yeah. And a lot of people, I think, they go through and they're like, I'll worry about that when the weight comes off. But the problem is, if too much weight comes off and 30% of that was lean, not to say that not all lean is muscle. I mean, there's other parts that go into the whole lean mass. But still, if you're feeling weak and tired, lethargic, and you don't have any energy, and now it's harder to move your body, even though it's, less weight, you have to approach this with common sense and get the strength training in. And I don't care where you're at. You can be on a shot or you can be not on a shot. You better be doing some strength training no matter what. Period. No matter what age, no matter what body type, no matter what size, lift some damn weights. We were at the gym the other day and these two girls came in, and one girl was very obese and the other girl was very fit. And I thought it was so great because they were doing pretty much the same workout. The girl that was bigger obviously was using less weight because she's probably just getting into it. But she had a great attitude. I almost went over and said, I love watching you guys, but I don't want to cross that line of, like, what are you saying?
Correcting form.
Why couldn't I? You know what I mean? I'm like, they did so great. And I was really happy to see such young people in the gym doing their thing and not worrying. Because a lot of people won't go into the gym at a certain size because they're embarrassed. They think people are going to look at them. Well, yeah. When I see someone that's bigger or obese or overweight going into the gym, I might look at them, but in my mind, I'm thinking, freaking hell yeah, get you some, like that's what I'm thinking. So we can't always assume what's going on in someone's mind when they look at us or when we're in a space, just like what you were, mentioning earlier, how we see our bodies and stuff. We don't know what people think and see. We start a story in our head and that can really jack us up. So we need to kind of step out of that and not worry so much about what we think other people think.
Talk to your
And,
AI.
yeah, right?
Talk to your AI, and they'll tell you the same thing, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
at least tell you what you want to hear. I would say when you were mentioning that about the gym and everything, and like obviously, we are strong supporters of lift the fucking weights.
Mm-hmm.
When you start lifting weights, usually the thought is that you don't regret it. It's usually, why didn't I start it sooner?
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of confidence I have accumulated since I started lifting weights, and and obviously it goes to with losing weight, and getting the friends that I have and the support that I have and everything. But lifting weights is it's a mind changer. It's
Mm-hmm.
blowing my mind. Like, I just love it. I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to stop it. Can I sustain 6 days a week? We'll see.
Right.
But I'm enjoying the set right now, but then I can always go back to, let's say, 5 days a week. And
You can
then
do whatever
even
you want.
maintaining it, you could do fucking
You could do
3 or
2 days
4.
a week and still be kicking
Exactly.
ass,
Just
it just
lift
depends on
heavy
what you do.
enough.
Yeah, and that's the
During the
thing.
summer, like, that's what you want to do, right? Because you want to be outside more as opposed to in the gym. So, like,
Right.
yeah, do whatever it is. But just
Mm-hmm.
know, when it comes to winter time, activity level might drop,
Right.
and therefore your calories in maintenance might need to drop a little bit.
Right.
I think that's what I've come to find in these past 2 winters, is that right now I'm eating like whatever the Fitbits and even AI is saying, okay, well, we're estimating your TDEE around 2400. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, only now, right
Right, but
now,
not in the
it's
winter.
that
Yeah,
because I'm
you're
walking
walking.
15,000 steps a day. I'm doing 6 days of lifting. I'm doing HIIT twice a week and everything like that. During the summer, I'm on a 2-hour bike ride. During
Yeah.
the winter, none of that shit's happening.
Yep.
No.
Well, see, and that's where we're at is you every time or every year or every however you want to look at it.
Relearning it.
You're learning and think about back when you were in your 20s and you go out partying on the weekends and then you'd be
Yes.
puking and saying, I ain't going to do this shit anymore. And then you do it again the next week and eventually that started to taper off a little bit and a little bit and a little bit, right? Until eventually you're like, where you are is, you're completely no alcohol. Or you just go, I'm
Right.
just going to have an occasional one when it seems like it's a comfortable thing to do. But every time you do something with regards to exercise, tried this didn't work. I liked this. Okay, let's put that in the yes
Right.
pile and we'll put this one in the no pile. And you just keep honing it. And the thing is, you don't ever have to be perfect. It doesn't have to fit in a certain box that some freaking influencer says it needs to fit into for their
Burpees will
body and what
always be in
works
the
for
no.
them. Yeah, it's finding what works for you, but knowing and being very realistic about timing. So, for example, Sarah had mentioned your ability to do all the things that you do with your schedule versus what she feels is her ability to do with young kids and, what she's got going on in her life.
Yeah.
She could not
Totally different
fathom,
schedule.
totally different. And she couldn't fathom where you're at versus where she's at, that it would not be as realistic for her to do that without her having to sacrifice this thing over here, for her. For
Hmm.
you, and I've talked about this so many times, I am blown away by what you get done today. Blown
But
away.
I also say
I like,
no.
yes,
I
yes.
put up a boundary because
You do, you have to.
a lot of years in my life, I have spent not putting up that boundary
Yeah,
and putting a lot of people first. And I'm not saying that there's not a time and case for that, but this is my time now.
yes, that's right. And
So
that's
I have,
okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
and that's
that's
okay.
okay. Yes, and I, but this is what you're choosing to do with your time right now. So this
Right.
is like I'm going to keep using Sarah as the example just because that's our example today. So Sarah's got her
Yes.
athletics and all that. This is your athletics. So she might be, playing basketball or volleyball or doing whatever her thing is, the sport of the season. And I don't even know if hers is volleyball. I can't remember. I think it's basketball. But at any rate,
Basketball. Yeah.
yeah, I was gonna say I'm like trying to remember. But at any rate, yours is this. So you're doing the strength training and that's what you're focused on. And then, you're taking the dogs for their walks and then you're working and dealing with all that. And then you're doing meal planning and stuff. So it's just kind of, It's your life
I was
and
gonna,
figuring out what you need to do in those parameters to stay healthy and fit,
right. I
and
was
not.
gonna say, I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna, because you mentioned walking. My goal is 11,000 steps. On Friday, this past Friday, I was actually at like 7,800 by the time I got home from work. And Ringo said, "Let me help you."
Yes, he did.
A 2 hour walk, two
Oh,
hours around the neighborhood. And then we
nice.
decided to go to the park and slip and slide and stuff. So he got a bath yesterday. But like I would say on that 2 hour walk, I accumulated 11,000 steps
Wow.
by itself. So I
Right.
ended the day at 18. So when people ask, now Leo, who is also on our show, I
Yeah.
don't know if you guys follow him on Instagram, 57 fucking thousand steps. 57.
Wow.
57,000 steps. What the fuck were you doing?
Right? Wow.
I don't know what. Are you marathon training? I don't fucking get it. Like, even me
Wow.
doing this is not doing anything.
I'm feeling good if I
And
hit 20,000. And Brian and I, at
20,
the end of the
right?
day, Brian always is in the thousands. And okay, so let's go here. So you
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
talked about this. I don't know if we talked about it on the podcast last week or not. I feel like maybe we did. But he will, at the end of the day, after hauling logs, chopping wood, weed whacking, trimming trees, there's a million things this man's been doing, digging
Right.
holes for all the shit that I'm making him plant, and all these things. He gets done at the end of the day. He's done 20,000 steps, and then he will go downstairs and get on the treadmill for 45 minutes. And I'm
Why?
just like, baby, this counts.
Why?
And that's what I don't think people understand. If you are, this is like even better way to train. I was pulling a tree, a tree the other day from our
Tree.
hill. I drug it, our driveway. I drug it down the
Yes.
driveway and across the little bridge and all the way up into the other yard where he's got the burn pile going. I drug that
Oh
tree.
my
I had to
gosh.
take a break because I was hamstring, trying to pull it like
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
and is a heavy
Nice.
ass tree. And he said, "You want some help?" No, this is my hamstring workout. So you go on a hike, guess what? That was your cardio. You don't have to come
Yeah.
home and get on treadmill or an elliptical
I'm
or
tired.
do some extra. The hike was your cardio and probably some strength. So if you are the OCD, I feel like it's not official unless it's a official exercise. That's not the case. You got your
Okay, so
steps
now
in.
that's a good point. So a lot of times, like cardio, lifting weights is a small percentage of what your day is,
Mhm.
right? When you're talking about calories in, calories in is going to account for a lot more shit. Like when you're on your deficits or even eating at maintenance and stuff like that, what you're consuming counts for a lot. But you also have just your breathing organ function calories, and then you have your NEAT, right?
Mhm.
So that's my question, I guess. Is that how he views it? All the yard work and stuff like that, is that considered neat? And therefore he wants to add on cardio. Like,
I
is
don't
his body getting used to? And I'm not saying
Right.
like, because
Yeah.
when he's in wintertime, it's not like he's doing all this stuff,
No, in
right?
wintertime, it makes perfect sense. Even though, I don't know, around here, except last year, it doesn't normally get so cold
Yeah.
that he's not out screwing around chopping something up. But yes and no, I would say that he's increased it a lot because of how much we're
Yeah.
cutting down and chopping. And so he's like, Pa and Little House on the Prairie out there chopping the wood.
But like that, so you're at the pinnacle, right? Because you have a lot of shit to do in the springtime
Yes.
before the summer comes. But now
Yes.
when summer comes,
Then we're gonna have to get our butts out hiking and stuff because summer he
okay,
can't get
but
in
then
there
that's
with
cardio,
the
right? That's not
yeah.
neat.
So then, yeah, exactly. So then he'll be hiking and all that. But either way, I mean, because he's still losing and not
Yeah.
eating, always getting all his calories, and according to his Fitbit, and again, people, we know that the Fitbit is
Grain of
not
salt or a
100%,
pound.
but according to his Fitbit, he burns anywhere from 3 to 3,500 calories a day. Now,
I believe it.
keep in mind that he is on a blocker. So his heart rate is forced down a bit. And so he can't elevate. So his watch is always telling him, despite the fact that it shows that he's under training because
Yeah.
his heart rate never goes into zones. I mean, he could be outside all day and he'll never be in zone. I could literally walk across the house and I'm in zone,
Yes.
so
I could wake
because
up
my
to go
heart
to
rate's
the
so
bathroom and
low.
do that.
But his is forced down, whereas mine can get elevated going up and down some
Mhm.
stairs. His is kept down. So I think that's part of it is he sees that and thinks, oh, I'm not doing enough, right? Or it doesn't count. But now also he gets on the treadmill and he watches his dumb shit on YouTube and it makes him laugh or whatever. And so it's also his zoned out time. So I do look at it from that perspective as well, that he just needs
Yeah.
time on the treadmill without me being in the room. Can we do this next? So let's do this. So let's go over here. It's his time to himself. So I can appreciate that from that perspective, as long as that's why and it's not and he's admitted this can be a thing. Like it's this obsessive compulsive kind of addictive thing. And
But
he talks
then,
about that, where it used to be, it was cigarettes at one point. At one point, it was not beer to the point that he was an alcoholic, but like drinking
yeah,
way more than we should have.
right, right.
And now it's what he can control in his life, I think, right? Is his
Huh.
food intake, his exercise. It's what he has control over with all the other chaos going on.
You become so obsessed with it, though, that it becomes unhealthy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
like, that's that addictive type personalities. Like, I would say John's cousin does a lot of stuff. He's very lean,
Mm-hmm.
very muscular, bikes to work. I don't even
Right.
know, like, even in the wintertime, he's biking to work. But, like, has it become so obsessive compulsory that it's almost a detriment,
Right. And that
you
I
know?
think it can be. I think it can be because he doesn't see himself the way he looks. Is so going back to what I squirreled off
Yeah.
of like 30 minutes ago, he was always stocky. He's not stocky anymore. And I remember his brother who passed away when he was 39, but I remember he was always little. And I say little just like trimmed up because he's only 5'5.5", right? So he's
Yeah.
not like this giant guy. He's 5'5.5", and that's probably about what Mike was as well. And he was always littler, and Brian always had like a bubble butt and he was always just like this. Well, now he's still all muscle, but it's cut and his abs are showing, but he has like a hernia. So the bottom part of his abs, he
Right.
needs to get that fixed, aren't as cut. They're not going to be because he has a hernia. It's an umbilical hernia, so it's pushing out pretty good. So I think
Sure,
he
yeah.
sees that and he doesn't see, like, he puts on these jeans and he's so, like, he's just so little and he's got this like perfect little butt and it just cracks me up because it's like we've been together for 35 years on the 20s. He's never looked like this and he's so muscular. We were at the gym the other day, totally going to share this, sorry to all the dudes listening, but we're at the gym the other day and he's lifting and I'm just staring at him and getting that like I'm looking at some dude at the gym that I don't know, and I was like, damn, I know what we're doing when we get home.
Right?
I was like, holy shit. And I'm looking around, I'm like, he's going home with me. He's mine. That's mine.
That's
Yeah. So
awesome.
anyway, but it's just fun because I see this, he doesn't see it.
He doesn't see it, right? Does he
yeah.
only see the hernia then? Or, like, I mean, he got to get that fixed, but
Yeah,
then
he's gonna.
what are you
He's got
going
an
to
appointment.
do? That's good. But
Yeah.
then when are you going to do? Because you won't be able to lift shit after that.
I
You
told
got
him to
at
wait till
least 6
winter.
weeks.
I said, get the
Yeah, yeah.
appointment. I said, then wait and get it done in November because you're not gonna be outside doing anything anyway. We won't be, you
Right.
don't need to mow, you don't need to do all that. Just
Yep.
schedule it for November. And then that way, because he's getting sick, he has to push it in. So, and then I have to get on him about the different types of ab workouts to avoid, like you don't want to be crunching and don't hold your breath. I'm constantly during our session saying, breathe, breathe, breathe,
Yeah.
which I have to say to all my clients anyway, but it's just this, try to breathe your way through. Don't do this kind of things. Anyway.
But they tell us to exhale.
Yeah, but not grunt, not forced. Anyway. All right. Well, so anything else you want to add to that?
And we had plenty of squirrels and dragons today.
Perfect, right? Perfect. Yes. Okay. So here's another thing. If you are somebody that's listening that would like to share your story with us, please reach out to us either on, whatever you're listening on. You can send a message. You can reach out on our Instagram page. We started a YouTube channel too. So you guys can, though we don't have comments open there because I can't deal with like reading comments and not squirreling off of that. So you can always send us a private message if you have something you want to add.
Email, yes.
Yes, and then the email to offthescaleunfiltered@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good.
So yeah, anyway, but please, if you'd like to be a guest, let us know. We would love to have you on to share your story. And if you have any questions, comments, just like Sarah did, she shot us a message, said, "Oh, I would love to talk more about this, that, or the other." We don't have to mention your name if you'd rather not. And anyway, so yeah, just let us know.
Definitely. I appreciated the whole gamut that she was talking about in her email,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like, yeah, I'm in it. I went through it. I'm still going through it. I think I'm at the point now, and I guess just to fully answer her question, because I did in the email, but I'm into more of the strength itself. I prefer the strength, but then I was also giving myself a lot of leeway with chocolates and ice cream and whatnot, right?
Right.
So when you start incorporating, and it's not to say that you can't have it, but when your calories start hitting 300 to 500 of your calories with those treats, that's
Mm-hmm.
when you might have to reel it back a little bit and say, okay. And I'm not like, I don't know what Sarah's eating right now and stuff,
Right.
but I knew for me that 300 to 500 calories of my maintenance or whatever is not a good look.
Right.
I didn't appreciate it, right?
Yeah.
And then like obviously you could see with the lighting, like you could start to see the cuts and stuff like that. That's the look I'm going for.
Yeah.
So I know what I need to eat now. And I'm actually okay with where I'm at. And then I guess maybe next week we could talk about metabolic adaptation
Yeah.
and stuff,
Sure.
you know? Because like there's different schools of thought on that too.
Right. Yeah. I think that's great. All right,
Yeah.
guys. Well, I hope everyone has a great week. Shauna, have a great week, and we'll
Thanks, you too.
catch you all on the other side. Bye.
Bye.